Match number 29 is the center of our attention now. Bangalore. Have you had enough time to recover or digest what happened at the Eden Gardens? 49 all out, but you've got to pick yourselves up quickly. You're back at the Chinnaswamy. You're taking on Hyderabad, who had a bit of an upset of their own, Brad Hogg, in that last game. Two teams that would definitely need to start getting their campaign back on track. Hyderabad have done better than Bangalore. Let's have a look at match day, match point number 1. We have to start talking about Bangalore's missing middle order. Brad Hogg, the other night, not a single batsman getting into double figures. A record Bangalore have that no team would ever want. Begs the question on whether something alarming needs to be done. First, let's look at some numbers to throw in perspective what could be a problem. The worst average in strike rate from numbers 4 to 7. That's your middle order, presumably after AB de Villiers comes in, even though Mandeep Singh batted 3 in the last game. An average of 18.5 and a strike rate of 125, considerably lower than even the likes of Gujarat, Punjab and Pune, whose campaigns have been up and down. These are last year's runners-up. They're on reputation, one of the best batting sides. Brad Hogg, you have 45 seconds to tell me how all of this can turn around in 2 days.
Turn around.
Yeah.
The problem with RCB is that they've put all their eggs in one basket. They're relying on the top 3. They haven't fired. Gale's a lot slower than what we've seen in the past. Virat Kohli's not getting away to good starts. And then you've got the difference between AB de Villiers, Head and Watson. There's just been circular chairs there because they always go for that bowler down their bottom. And then the other night when KKR were playing, it was only a small total that they were chasing. You just know with RCB, if you get 3 early wickets, you get 2 of those top 3 batsmen out, you're into that middle order where they haven't performed and you know that you're half a chance even though that you've got a slow score. So when KKR were bowling the other night, if they knew they had 70 runs on the board with 3 wickets down, they were going to win it.
Good job on the summary in the time frame, but I'm going to spend a little more time with you on this because we must. Your conversation was as long as the innings of Bangalore the other night, about 50 seconds. But just that middle order, no one's really got a score of any significance after the AB and Kohli and Gale are gone. Just your thoughts on that.
Look, I think it could be a process of the way that they actually train. And I haven't been down the nets and seen Bangalore train, but when you get into that 2020 mode, it's easy just to go down to the nets as a batsman and try and play the big shots, just try and hit the boundaries from ball 1. I think when you go to the nets, you've got to be smart about it. You've got to realise that if you're in that middle order, you're expecting either one of those big 3, Gale, Kohli, or de Villiers, to be out the crease at that stage, and you've got to make sure that you have the ability to get off strike from ball 1, whether it's spin or pace. So go to the nets, and one night go there facing spin first, work to try and get off strike from the very first ball on some tough training wickets as well. You've got to set the experience up, and then the next night against the quicks to a reversing ball.
Well, I hope Bangalore paid attention because they need whatever help they can get to try and put their batting together after a performance like that. Let's take match day, match point number 2, and Bangalore will rely on Chris Gale to give them the start that he gave them a couple of games ago against Gujarat. It's that kind of player that he is now, hit or miss. Either he'll give you that smashing 70 of 30 or he'll labour to a 7 of 17 like in the game against Kolkata. He's going to come up against Bhuvneshwar Kumar. So it's just time to see how that contest might face up, Brad. And if you look at Bhuvi Kumar, probably the best balance when it comes to keeping the runs down and getting the wickets in the power play. 19.25, the best economy. Excellent from Mitch McClanahan, who's actually got 6 wickets but goes at over 6.5. So that's just some of the numbers. We've got some more for you, which is specifically about Bhuvneshwar Kumar against Chris Gale. And it's a strike rate of 143 in all T20s, not just the IPL. So we must keep into mind that this could have been a different time or a different zone in the world when that Chris Gale was and that he may not be in now. Just how you see that up. One of the best bowlers in this year's tournament against one of the best batsmen in the history of the format. 45 seconds for you.
Well, let's just look at Bhuvneshwar. Bhuvneshwar is on the way up. Chris Gale, he's at a stagnant position at the moment. We don't know whether he's going to go on a downward spiral or he's going to rejuvenate his career. But the thing with Bhuvneshwar, he's bowling with extra pace now. He's swinging the ball both ways. He sums up the conditions well. If it's not swinging, he's prepared to go to the slower balls in that power play or the Yorkers or utilise the bouncer. In this contest, he's got to get the ball up there, swing it away and swing it into Chris Gale if it's swinging. If it's not swinging, then utilise the short ball. We saw the other night, Coulter with extreme pace troubled Gale with the short one. So expect a really good contest between these two, and I think Bhuvaneshwar is going to be on top of Chris Gayle.
I just want to know, it's sometimes fun to watch a guy who's 6'5" or so get a short ball and duck away, like we saw Chris Gayle. There's something about it. I'm sure you've stood at point when it's happened, had a word or two. It's nice to see it, isn't it?
There's nothing better than standing out point or even facing it, because it's just a highlight of the game.
Yeah.
And I think that's one aspect of the game. When we look back to the 70s and the 80s when we came through cricket, we watched the West Indies, the four-prong pace attack, just bouncing continually other sides around the world, and it was a real brutal contest, and you had to play the horizontal shots. You had to play the pull shot and the cut shot to survive and to score runs. And
I think without the helmets, had that?
Without the helmets too, yes, indeed. And I think that's one aspect of the game which could even up between bat and ball, especially on a pace aspect, is to allow bowlers, especially in T20 cricket, to bowl one more bouncer an innings. And so you can bowl one early, but then it doesn't allow the batsman to think, right, well, he's bowled that bouncer. I can get on that front foot and I can be comfortable now that he can't get one around the head area. So let's keep the batsman guessing and change that rule.
I know you're a big fan of that. Let's see if the lawmakers take note. One man who's been very good with bat and ball for Hyderabad has been Moses Henriques, and he takes us to match day match point number 3. He's not been used as much with the ball, so let me rephrase and say it's maybe not been Moses Henriques' bowling that's been as effective, but he's been solid for them at number 3. He's actually been pushed to number 5 after Kane Williamson's inclusion to the side. What we like to know is of Moses Henriques, Brad, is he's already scored more runs than he did in all of last season. 64 the average. He didn't get to bat as much last season with the way Warner was going, and a strike rate of 141. The improvement of Moses Henriques as a player, and where you think he would be best used, given Sunrisers now prefer playing Kane Williamson. 45 seconds to you.
Look, he's a very adaptable batsman, and that's one thing that's grown in Moses Henriques' game. But let's not forget, last year Darwin and Warner were getting them off to a good start. They averaged 122 as an opening partnership every game. So that really put pressure on that lower order, where they had to come in and play from the start and be aggressive from the start. And that probably upset someone like Moses Henriques, who likes to have a couple of balls to get in. But we saw the last game, he scored a quick fire 30-odd when he came in out the death there. So it just shows that he's adaptable. The thing is, he plays cricket shots, and when he goes after the bowling and he takes a risk, he takes a calculated risk, putting the percentages in his favour, knowing that it's a shot that he's practiced in the nets.
Boom, off goes your buzzer. Thank you very much, Brad Hogg, on Moses Henriques. One thing that Moses Henriques needs to do right is actually come good after what looks like a waning opening partnership between Shikhar Dhawan and David Warner. It takes us to match point number 4. Are they failing to capitalize on the power play? We're speaking of probably the most prolific opening partnership from last year's IPL. Key in Sunrisers actually winning the title. Let's see if their season's going off the boil just a bit. Brad, first 3 games, Warner and Dhawan started like it was last year, run rate of over 8, which is, what they normally do, is the job that they do. They bat long too, and balls per boundary, almost every over they're getting a boundary. Last 4 matches though, it's gone down in the run rates column. They still lose the odd early wicket, and they're not getting as many boundaries. Maybe begs the question, can they take a leaf out of the Kolkata Knight Riders book? And I know you are a big fan of Sunil Narine at the top there. What can be done to try and solve that problem? 45 seconds for you.
Well, I think they've got the best opening combination that they can have down there at Sunrisers, but I think teams are bowling better to David Warner for a start. They're tying him up, whether it's spin, they're closing him up close, not allowing to free his hands. And if the opening bowlers can't swing the ball, the pace bowlers, then they're going either wide of the crease, making him reach, because we know that he just plants that front foot virtually in front of middle and off. He doesn't get across to the ball. So they're getting a few dot balls on David Warner there, and then coming back in and closing him up right in the gut area, in the midriff, where he can't flick it over. Then you move to Darwin. When Darwin tries to go, he doesn't extend his hands. He plays the big shots really close, so he doesn't get enough power in those shots. So that's where Darwin falls behind the strike rate.
Hold on, I think you could be a coach someday.
Well, I'm just trying to just show what I've been observing.
Fantastic. Good observation skills for Brad Hogg. We'll see if those openers can get it right against Bangalore's bowling has also been a bit of a question this season. Let's see now if Brad Hogg makes changes to the two teams that will take the field at the Chinnaswamy on Tuesday. We'll start with Bangalore. Now, are there going to be 11 changes after that kind of performance? Well, maybe there won't be one, and I think that is the case with your team. You've looked at that entire squad, and we know that they've already come into this tournament with injuries, Brad. You've decided that in spite of that performance, this is indeed the best 11 they could put on the field. Just your thoughts to tell me why you wouldn't change anything in spite of that batting performance.
Well, their bowling's their strength. It's as simple as that. The only change that you would look at is bringing Watson in for one of the pace bowlers, but then you take away the spearhead of Mills, or you take away Badri, probably their two best bowlers apart from Chahal in that lineup. And you just, when you've got a team like this, as a coach, you're just hoping that your top three just fire and one of them goes out and blasts a big score, gets a 50 plus. If they get to 50, you're hoping that they get up to 80, and that the middle order just can help and just rotate the strike and just get a couple of boundaries in that middle order. I don't think they need to make big changes. They're in the tournament, they're in the middle of the tournament, they need to win, and that's the best team that they've got at the present moment as balance-wise.
Yeah, maybe the less you change about a performance like that, the better, given those things are not going to happen every day. At least you don't think they'd happen every day. Hyderabad's 11. Now, they'd also be maybe a little bit of questions to be asked of the management on which 11 they feel. They've got a great squad, which started so well. You've, again, stuck to the same team that lost out on the last ball against Pune. I think one question, Hoggy, is, I think you've made the one change. Yuvraj Singh, if he's fit, comes back in, and you've dropped Deepak Hooda to keep place for Bipul Sharma. Maybe in the absence of another experienced bowler at the death, if Bhuvi doesn't get it right like he did against Pune the other night, maybe he plays for Mustafizur. Just your thoughts on that team.
No, I just think they've got a very well-balanced team at the present moment. I think Singh comes in for Hooda. I just like that extra all-rounder down the bottom. Bipul Sharma, I think he's quality with his left-arm off-spinners and can bat a bit, and I don't think Hooda's offering enough to keep his spot in there as a frontline batsman who bowls part-time, well, right-arm form finders, let's say. But I'd like to keep Siraj in there in front of Nehra as well. I think Nehra does a great job, but I think Siraj, he's just come on the scene. This could be a big moment for him because he's fast, he's raw, he wants to get into the contest. And going up against someone like a Chris Gale, where he saw Coulter get some short pitch bowling to Chris Gale,
yes,
this could really lift a guy like Siraj from where he is to a new level and be something that they can rely on later in this tournament.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Brad Hogg. Always a pleasure to get your thoughts. And you can get more of Brad's thoughts as well as our entire panel here on ESPNcricinfo Matchday T20 on our 7:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time live show on the site as well as on our Facebook page. Send your questions using the hashtags. We're also live on Facebook mid-innings along with the 7:30 pre-game show. So make sure you can send your questions and comments through our guests on that platform. And then, of course, YouTube to subscribe to our content there. We'll see how Bangalore, whether they can come back after that miserable performance against Kolkata against Hyderabad.